Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Mark. Mark is from Michigan in the USA. So let's see what Mark has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hello. All
Yes,
right.
yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me properly?
I can. Yeah, absolutely. How are you?
So hello Mark, I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm doing really, really well. I'm excited.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
It's good. It's been pretty busy, but overall not so bad. Busy
Right,
is good.
amazing. So tell
Um,
me, where are you from, Mark?
so I live in Ferndale, Michigan.
Mhm.
My office is in Bloomfield Hills, which is probably 30 minutes north. It's a straight shot right up Woodward, so it's not too far of a commute. It's good.
I see. And that's the
Yeah.
place where you're born and raised?
So I was born in Warren, Michigan. It's 30 minutes east of Ferndale.
Okay. And why did you change from there to from there?
It's closer to work.
Uh-huh.
I live with my best friend David. It's his house. I rent a room, and we've lived together for almost 5 years now since about COVID that first year.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what do you do for work, for living, Mark?
So I'm a mental health therapist.
So tell me a little bit more about your career.
Hey, so I went to the University of Chicago for graduate school, and I worked in a small town in North Carolina called Goldsboro. I opened my first practice in Raleigh. It's a sports psychology consulting business. And 2015, I moved back to be primary caretaker of my dad. He passed in 2017. Uh, right before 2019 ended, I moved from a small office in Rochester Hills to where I am now. So it's a group practice. I'm the owner and clinic director and therapist. So we have a medical director, Dr. Harris. She's amazing. I absolutely love her. I love working with her. She's just brilliant. She's very, very smart. So we have a handful of different types of therapists here.
Mhm.
Uh, Ranges from mental health, substance use, uh, sex offending treatment, and sex and human trafficking. So we work with, or I specifically have worked with survivors of sex and human trafficking as well.
Amazing. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, it's good work. I like it. Some days, it can be life can be tough, but I've always found that working with my clients is the thing that probably like connects me to the softer side of humanity. So it's good.
Most of your clients, your patients, they are female or male?
It's a mixture, all ages from four on up into 80s and 90s. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your job and also about your life so far, okay?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself or maybe something that not many people know about you.
I'm absolutely phobic of sharks.
Phobic of shark?
Yeah, phobic of sharks. Yeah. I think it's probably because I saw Jaws when I was three in the theater. So the other thing is I was born in 1974, so that makes me 50.
Oh my God, have you celebrated your birthday yet or is to come?
It was in March. So yeah, it's March
Oh,
11th.
oh my God, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my
Yeah, it was
God.
good.
And how do you feel, at becoming 50? Do you see, is it just a new decade? Do you see that you are in a place where you feel more maybe happier, or you feel more comfortable with
Yeah,
life?
yeah, I would definitely say I feel more confident, happier with life. My, the history is history.
Great, very good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mark, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through
Yeah,
American
yeah, yeah,
life?
absolutely. Let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Okay. So I've got here my magic box. Full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna
Okay.
play a song now, just first to relax a bit before the first question. Okay.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Right. So before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change. Okay.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Research.
First question. First question for you is: how would you describe a perfect, healthy relationship?
Okay. I think it's, probably one where it's 100. So I learned about that and kind of brought it into my own from my roommate. So through conversations and, a lot of times people will talk about, I want that 50-50. But what sense does 50% of somebody make? I don't want uh, to have somebody complete me. I want somebody to meet me 100.
Do you believe that a relationship, in your opinion, what's the biggest mistakes that people when they get together and they start a relationship that in your opinion it's one of the biggest mistakes that happen, and also um, what do you see like what would be the secret or your opinion for a relationship to be long, like a long while relationship?
Sure. Probably, communication and honesty. I think going into, relationships, we want to put our best foot forward. But I think with that, we also have to, communicate the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Being 50, I think, deal breakers are a real thing. And I know there's going to be some people who aren't going to, you know, enjoy or like certain parts of who I am, or enjoy or like some of the things that I do, or it's just good to be upfront and in time. It's not, you don't hit it from the beginning, but honesty. I think communication is probably the best thing.
Yes, I agree. I think communication is the main key of a relationship,
Yeah,
I think, you need to be able to communicate with the person you're sharing a life with. You need to be,
absolutely.
some of the topics can be a bit difficult to talk, can be a bit intimidating, can be a bit strange.
Sure,
However,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
need to share, you need to be able
Yeah,
to trust the person by your
yeah,
side. So about
absolutely.
amazing.
Going into it, having uh, all the as much information as you can, so you can make an informed decision for yourself if this is something that you want.
Amazing. Next question, let's do it. All right, next question for
All
you.
right.
If you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why?
Uh, I would go to Sydney, Australia.
Tell me
Yeah.
why.
I visited there for the first time in 1995.
Hmm.
I went to go visit my brother who had been there, living there for a year. It was Christmas break for us when I was in college.
Okay.
I think it was my freshman year, and I spent 6 weeks there. It was really great. I got to you know go through Sydney and the Gold Coast, and saw a Komodo dragon and in the jungle. We ran really, really fast to get away from it. But Australia is amazing. I think the people are super friendly. I think, beautiful weather, beautiful people. It was a really amazing time. So I definitely would want to go back there.
I had an interview with a lovely young lady from Sydney. Actually, the interview
Oh yeah.
I think it's gonna go live next week, sometime next week.
Okay.
Beautiful interview.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And when you think about Sydney, about your experience there, what was the highlights of your trip over there?
Okay, so I body surfed in the ocean for the first time.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm phobic of sharks, right? So where else would you go to challenge your biggest fear in life? So it was in Sydney. It took me like 6.5 hours to body surf 3 times. But
Wow,
it was totally worth it. Everybody around me knew, I was phobic of sharks. It was kind of a joke, but yeah, everybody laughed. It was a good time.
amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Mark, before the next question, what's the biggest joy of being a therapist? Yeah, working with people, helping people. What do you like the most about it? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
Oh, wow. Okay. So definitely working with the clients, coming into the office and sitting down and just, there's two types of therapists that I sort of describe myself. It's therapy Mark, who kind of, is empathetic and compassionate and, soft and sometimes tiptoes around things. And then there's Mark in jeans and a t-shirt on the street. And that's the, rigorously honest, uh, objective, sometimes is this where the hard conversations happen. And then probably the flip side of that would be um, working with the insurance companies. I think that is probably billing is probably the most challenging. Yeah.
Working with people, you're dealing very directly with their problems or with their
Mhm.
issues. There are a lot of things happening there. And I'm sure for you, you deal with a lot of emotions as well. And sometimes,
Sure.
it takes to your personal, to yourself, you are
Right.
literally help them. Do you find a way for you to somehow disconnect, not to get that to your personal life and kind of,
Yeah.
live there? There is something that you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
about.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So two things. On my way to work and on my way back, I do is like two or three performances singing. So I like blues. I like Susan Tedeschi. I like uh, Paolo Nutini. I like kind of the 50s kinds of music. Yeah, so that I love to sing. I think without music, I think it for me it would be really, really difficult to make it through a day. And then the second thing is at least some kind of human connection outside in my personal life. So whether it's walking past somebody and uh, having them acknowledge me and say hello and respond and just keep it moving. But it's the little things. It's the small things that with regards to that help me get through things.
Which person in your life you feel more close to, that you feel more connected with right now?
Probably my roommate. Yeah, David. Yep.
Okay, so let's see that David is watching this interview right now, and you have an opportunity, you have a moment to send him a message. What would you say?
Wow. Wow. Okay, so I probably would start off by calling him Jerkface because that's kind of his nickname. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a safe environment. He gets me. He lets me be weird and sing loud and act strange and just be a big goofball and sometimes a nerd, sometimes, you know, anxious beyond belief, sometimes angry, but yeah, he rolls with it for the most part. So I
Tell me,
appreciate that.
tell me how your path crossed. How tell me the very first day or the
Wow.
very first time that you put your eyes on it, that you crossed, your path
Okay.
got crossed.
Yeah, so he had just moved back from Ferndale, or I mean from Colorado, Denver to
Yep.
Ferndale. And I was living in Royal Oak, which was just a little north, and we met at one of the local gay bars and just had a drink, kind of hung out and chatted, and things just kind of clicked. He had some things with his mom that was going on, and I had stuff with my dad, and we connected on that. And COVID happened, and one thing led to another. He asked me if I wanted to move in. He needed a roommate, and so it all worked out. I really, at the time, I had lived pretty much by myself since I was like 18. So having, it was a lifesaver to have a roommate during COVID. Absolutely. So yeah.
Great. Next question for you is, what is one thing you can't live without?
Oh wow. Outside of music, probably like emoting, any kind of like expression, whether it's movement, singing, uh, dancing. Like dancing is probably my second most
I love
favorite
it.
thing. Yeah, absolutely. So
It's so fascinating how music, move us somehow.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
though
yeah.
when you are in a melancholic mood, you're not feeling your best, you put a music on and you feel the even you feel the sadness in a different way, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
I think music is just makes you feel more grateful about life as well.
Absolutely.
I realize sometimes when I'm walking with my music and suddenly any music that I like a lot, I just feel so great and I go like, my God, it's such a great feeling that you just feel grateful about life, about everything that's happening to you.
Absolutely. It can
Very-
definitely, impact and influence
Yeah.
mood for sure. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question for you is right. What is the best first date have you ever been on?
Wow. Best first date. I don't know if I've ever really had a best first date, to be honest.
So
Yeah.
tell me one of the maybe a meeting or maybe crossing somebody's life for any maybe for just for one night stand, anything that you go like, you know what, that was something to remember.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking something in DC, Washington, DC. So when I lived in North Carolina, um, I was dating a guy who happened to be a bartender, and it was a Sunday. There was a DJ. It was a rooftop, and a Madonna song came on. I think it was Holiday, and just as it started to rain, and everybody left the dance floor, and I was like, no way, no way, I'm not gonna, this is a perfect opportunity. So I went out there, and before you know it, it was packed again, and everybody was having fun and moving and dancing, and it was raining and sun was setting. It was a really cool experience. Absolutely, hands down. My
how
favorite,
was,
absolutely.
how was for you growing up as a gay boy? Tell me about your experience if you can share.
Wow. Okay. So I really didn't put any of the dots together uh, until I was probably 23.
Mhm.
So um, my first I can say probably my first gay or sexual experience. I was sexually assaulted. Uh, it's a long, very long story. Um, but so I was in college. It was my sophomore year, and uh, the guy, come to find out later, he had stalked me for 2.5 years and inserted himself into my life. And, you know, things happened how they happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up reporting it like 6 months later. My best friend, Catherine, convinced me. She pretty much forced it out of me. I hadn't told anybody. And it, probably, nothing happened to him. I reported it. There was, it was 1995. So in college in the Midwest, um, police didn't really believe it. They didn't really want to engage in it because it was a gay thing, right? And there was nothing came of it. So uh, I believe I heard that he had done it to a couple other people after. Um, but that probably, that impacted me probably for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of in and out of therapy, doing, trying to navigate life. But then, I moved to Chicago for grad school,
Mm-hmm.
and things were different. I removed myself from my environment. I was depressed. I was angry. I was sad, and um, I wanted something better. So I went to grad school. I met some really great gay and lesbian men and women, and um, learned how to be okay with myself. And that started the process. So from there, I was probably in my early 30s when I started to be a little bit more okay. So I kind of went through straight to bi to gay to bi to pan to, whatever the kids are calling it now. So I guess I kind of, I guess I probably would more identify as pansexual. I'm attracted to all kinds of humans. So yeah,
Wow.
it definitely better today than I was 20 years ago. So
And how
yeah.
is being gay in Ferndale, the city where you live? It's easy, you can be your true self, or it can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, no. So Ferndale is probably the most welcoming, like the longest uh city, the city with the longest welcoming amount of time behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's neighbors are great. It's a good mix. It's got families, heterosexual families, homosexual families, and everything kind of in between. So you see rainbow flags, and it's not it's not as gentrified as like Chicago or New York and those, in the neighborhoods, in the gay neighborhoods, but it's a good mix. I like it. Yeah. So I feel safe there.
Easy.
Absolutely.
Ready for another question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Next one. Right. So before the next question, Mark, in the beginning of the interview, you mentioned about, you also help people regarding mental health. Yeah. I
Right.
think it's a big topic nowadays in the world. I remember growing up in the 80s, I never heard the word mental health before. Even later in life, I've been living in Europe for the last 20 years, and I don't remember, like, people talking about that, about mental health. Maybe it was a stigma, maybe people wasn't open about it. But nowadays, maybe because social media, people, they express themselves in a way that
Sure.
they never
Yeah.
expressed
Yeah. Yeah.
before. People are more open and more, understanding about it. My question for you is, what's the biggest cause in your opinion about mental health issues nowadays? People, they get in a place that they cannot control it, their mind. There's a lot of things going on at the same time. What do you think it's the biggest cause nowadays?
Stress and life fatigue. 100%. Absolutely. People are tired,
Mm,
right? Stress. It's every day, all day for a lot of people. Most
yes.
definitely.
And what would be your best piece of advice for people to slow down, to kind of, what, let's take day by day, or let's take a little bit less on our shoulders?
Sure. Small bites. Small bites and start and finish. Start something, finish. Start something, finish.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Next question for you is, tell me about your best vacation and why you consider that.
Vacation. I probably it boils down to either okay, so there's probably three. So Australia we've already talked about.
Yeah.
I went to Hawaii, which was really great.
Mm-hmm.
But also uh, when I was in North Carolina, I lived in that small town Goldsboro, which was probably an hour and a half away from Wilmington, which is where the ocean is. And so when I lived there, I was there for 5 years, 6 years. So every Easter, I would get up really early in the morning, probably like 2:30, and I would drive to Wilmington and I would watch the sunrise. And they had all the churches from the surrounding counties had sunrise uh, beach Easter service. So I thought that was awesome. Yeah, I kind of miss it. It was really cool.
Since we started talking, for the interview, I realized that you've been in different states in the US. You kind of, I think, um, when you are based in Michigan right now, in your opinion, based on your experience living in different states, what's something about Michigan state that, in your opinion, stands out compared with other states in the US? What's something about the states that you think it's the postcard of Michigan?
So definitely artists, musicians, uh, performers. Um, we have a lot from the 40s and 50s on up. Um, the music is great, talent is great. But I mean, ultimately, I probably would say that the people in the Detroit area, metropolitan Detroit area,
Mm-hmm.
we're tough. We're resilient. We don't quit. Absolutely not. It's just who we are. We've gone through a lot of changes, recessions, and uh, you know economies tanking, and the auto industry having some rough difficulties. But we've always not only come back, but have learned and come back stronger. Absolutely. Yep.
Right, I have three questions left. Okay, let's do it.
Right.
But before the next question, tell me how music came into your life. You said you're a singer as well, and also tell me what's your did you have like an idol or someone that you love their music, if you can share?
Yeah. So music has always, it's just always music and dance and movement. I can remember being like 6 and 7 having dance parties with record albums with my mom and brother and dad and just being goofy and having fun. It's always been a really important part of my life. Um, I would say probably in high school. Eighth grade on up to senior year. Hands down, probably Janet Jackson. I absolutely, she was probably my first celebrity crush,
Wow.
100%. Yep, yep.
Top favorite song of Janet Jackson, in your opinion?
Uh, um, Pleasure Principle.
Fun enough, I had a gentleman here on the show as well. I love the gentleman from Sweden, but he lives in London. He's a personal trainer and he trains people in their home. Yeah. And one of his clients, one day he went for a training in their house. And his client said, "Oh, is it okay if I can bring a friend to join us in this session?" He's like, "Of course, absolutely." Suddenly, Janet Jackson just walking. He was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, yeah, that would be amazing.
It's not every day that you meet Janet Jackson, like just in the same room. It's not every day. It doesn't happen
No,
every day.
no, no, not at all.
Right. Next question for you is: would you ever get a tattoo, and what that would be?
Yeah, so I have three.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the first one I got when I was 18. It's a seahorse on my upper thigh.
Okay.
The second is writing on my forearm. It says "Ride the Pain." And
Mm.
then below my navel, I've got three Japanese characters. Yeah.
Which one is the most meaningful one?
Probably the one on my forearm. Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's if it doesn't, the idea is like, you are strong enough to be able to navigate through anything. You can ride that pain. You can, leave it behind you when you're done with it, or when it's done with you, however you want to look at it.
and are you planning for the next one or not?
Yeah, I would like to probably get a sleeve
Huh?
on my left arm. Yeah. I, I I think it would be cool to have it all black, but
Mhm.
one feature that's like a deep fluorescent sort of red, probably some kind of like koi fish, I think would be pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's do
All
it.
right.
Before the next question, actually, when I was checking your profile, yeah, on social media, there was a phrase there that I got a mark here because I'd like to ask you about it.
Sure.
So, in your profile says the X marks the spot. Tell me about it, the idea
Okay.
or the meaning behind.
Yeah. So my original Facebook is my name. So it's Mark Stephen Wells. It's, work, family, friends. It's just everything combined into one. And I decided this year that I wanted to have a little separation. I wanted to have a social media space and a community of where I could really just be me. I mean, the other, it's work, it's family. I feel like I have to restrict myself with guidelines.
Mhm.
It's stifling. It's stifling. So I thought, X marks the spot. It's kind of like when you're looking at a map, right? There's that X and it's you are here. It works out that my name is Mark, so X marks the spot is me saying to myself, you are right here. This is you.
Amazing. All right. Next question is: tell us about your first kiss and your first love.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So I was a freshman at Eastern Michigan University. Um, and my suite mate, his friend, his woman, girl, she ended up finding out that I had never kissed anybody before, and she thought that she would take it upon herself to uh, give me that experience, and it was it was definitely foot in the right direction. um, yeah, so male first kiss. Oh man, I probably like meaningful. Let's do that one because I couldn't tell you who the first boy,
Uh-huh.
man, college guy that I kissed. I couldn't remember. Um, so again, it's probably the guy from DC. I would probably say that was the most memorable. And then first love. I would say woman would be Catherine. Um, she lived across the hall from me. And then when I was in Chicago, when I gave myself the opportunity to, you know, be a little bit more authentic, I dated a guy named Scott, and so he was definitely my first man love, I guess.
Do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's romantic, there's uh, parental, there's sibling, there's friend. Um, yeah, all different kinds, I don't, I guess I'm trying not to put limitations on it now.
Mhm.
So for me, there's power in that choice, and in that power, there's freedom. So for me, it's a good thing.
Amazing. Ready for the last question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Before the last question, Mark, through your career, tell me a situation or a moment that you're never gonna forget. That for some reason always gonna have a special place in your heart.
Wow.
Always you're gonna remember for any reason.
Wow. There's so many. Um, man.
Maybe one of the latest one.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably would say so. When I lived in North Carolina, it was very, very rural in Goldsboro. Seymour Johnson Air Force Base is in that city as well. Um, for like the first 6 to 8 months, because of my Midwest Yankee accent, I had to point to when I went to restaurants, I had to point to what I wanted because nobody could really understand me. But after about a year, I became the therapist that was the therapist that you took your kids to, your rebel kids to, your you know I don't just it became just really comfortable, so
Mhm.
warm, so accepting. um it was great. It was probably my most favorite, outside of here now, probably my most favorite therapy environment that I've ever worked in. People were great, absolutely.
When you say about Yankee accents, tell me, for example, give me an example.
So, a lot of times people will joke about how do you know if somebody's from Michigan or the Midwest? If you bump into somebody, or stub your toe, or you're, trying to, you mess up somehow, typically people will go, oh, a lot of people here say so, or pop. I typically, because I lived in the South, I say soda still, but pop is definitely a Michigan thing. Um, we live really close to Canada, so we touch Windsor through a bridge, and a lot of times we have that sort of mixed Canadian nasally accent. So, uh, for example, like saying hockey, right? It's not. It's like hockey, right?
Interesting.
So I have
I
to
remember.
think about it. I have to think about it.
I remember that now. Yankee accent. I love that. Interesting. Last question for you is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I think, there's a lot out there that exists, right? Uh,
Mhm.
aliens, if the aliens exist, then why can't everything else? So that means, voodoo. It means religion. It means uh, fortune telling. It means tarot reading. Everything exists.
Okay, so then yet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
All right.
I can see you get ready in your chair. Let's start with family.
Loving,
Money.
important,
Fear.
necessary. Oh, wow. Fear, sharks.
Of course. Did you ever stop for a minute, try to understand why you have this, let's say, fear of sharks? Do you think you said about the movie, but there is something
Yeah.
about bigger, or it's just something that you cannot stand?
It's I think probably more so the opposite, but equivalent to a fish out of water. Being a human in water, I know I'm not the biggest. I know I'm not the fastest. I have deficits, so it's a handicap. So I probably would lose.
It's interesting to say about sharks because, of course, when I go to the sea, you know what I mean. If I'm like swimming a bit far, not that far, because but if
Sure.
I always have in my mind, my God, if something will touch my leg for any reason, I would go crazy thinking that's a shark. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always
absolutely.
I always have that in my mind as well. Not like scared, like maybe not like you. However, I'm always like very aware, of any
Right.
movement or any touch, anything would freak me out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life, one word.
Uh, mm, Happiness,
Love,
necessary,
religion,
complicated,
one word for sex,
beautiful.
politics.
Wow. How do I don't even know. It's messy,
Okay, friendship,
delicate,
desire,
uh, wanting,
regret,
honest.
success.
Today,
I like that. Wish,
um, love.
happiness.
Hmm. Oh man, I would probably say complex.
One word for Michigan.
Uh, Strong.
USA, one word.
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, Sadness.
Okay. And the last one now, therapist, one word.
Uh, Hopeful.
Amazing. Let's say I'm gonna go all the way to Michigan to meet David for a coffee, and I'm going to ask
Okay.
him, define Mark in one positive word and one negative word only, what he would say.
Positive would be passionate.
Okay.
Negative, passionate.
Interesting, interesting. Let's play now, Mark, in the magic box, and you can ask me a
Okay.
question. But before you ask me the
Hmm.
question, Mark, when you think about
Okay.
yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being
Right.
you?
Biggest joy of me. Let me see. Probably I think I like the way that I laugh. My laughter. I think it's pretty amazing.
Hey, you can ask me a question now.
Sure. So you kind of you talked a little bit about it earlier, so I'm gonna have to modify it a little bit. So, you swept me off my feet with the perfect first date, meticulously planning down to the last detail. But you left the nightcap in my hands. Okay, so first things first, right? Paint me
Right.
a picture of your dream date with me. And then when the night is winding down, do you charmingly inquire about how we should wrap up the evening, or do you let me take the reins and lead the way to our perfect ending?
Okay, you know what? I think a dream date with you, I would love, to go with you for a walk, anywhere where there was no technology, there was no people, around, no, a place where we could just be ourselves without any surrounding that's, of course, it's still noise, it's still everything, but a place where we both could feel comfortable to be our best self. A
Okay.
place, a walk to anywhere where you could feel comfortable with yourself. You wouldn't feel afraid to be your truly self. For me, when I meet someone and I feel that the person is literally being themselves, trust me, is the best turn on ever.
Yeah.
It's already halfway for me of to get close to this person. So if I would go for no walk with you, Mark, and if I could feel that you're being your truly self without any fear to express the way you are, trust me, the
Yeah.
night would go in a very good direction, or the evening, or the day, for sure. And
Okay. The second part, when the night's winding down, do you charmingly inquire about how we should wrap up the evening, or do you let me take the reins and lead the way to our perfect ending?
I love it. Now I got it. Now I got it right. Okay. Right. So you are walking in this beautiful walk where both of us are being our true self, and our energy is there. We are connecting. I would literally suggest us to go, anywhere where we could watch a movie, because we spend a lot of time, talking. And I think for us, I love movies. I love,
Okay.
watching any kind of movie. And I'd love to have someone by my side, because for me, movie is like a therapy. I love. It's the only
Sure.
time. It's the only time of. I go every week to the cinemas. I love going to the cinemas. It's the only time where I literally forget about everything what's happening outside, and I literally focus. I get into the movie. It doesn't matter if it's an action or comedy, romantic movie or drama, but I get so connected. And I
Yeah.
love to have someone by my side on this place where I'm literally disconnected with the words. And trust me, I'll take you there and with me. It could be at home, could be in a movie, the
Okay.
theater, but anywhere where I could watch a movie and have someone special by my side, for sure would be like a very nice way of wrapping up the night or the
Okay.
evening.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we find out in private. What would happen afterward. But until then, I can guarantee you, after this walk and this watch a very nice movie together, the rest is all gonna come like very natural, for sure. Great question. I love the question. Actually,
Yeah.
you put me right in the spots. I love that. I love it because I have over 1,000 interviews on the show so far, and people already asked me about dating, this and that, but nobody ever asked me how I'll take my guest, on a date in the way you asked. So yeah, amazing. Put me right in the
Good.
spots. Great. Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the
Yeah,
time. Thanks for being so sweet. And I sent the invitation. You've been
absolutely.
very sweet. Since we connected, you're there, very sweet. So thanks so much. I appreciate your
Thank
time and
you.
your
I appreciate it.
for you to be part of the show. But before you go, if you can share a positive message
Wow.
or anything that you live by.
Okay. So it's a combination of things. There was I think it was 1912. FDR, I think it was Roosevelt, said something about the man in the arena and daring greatly, right? So taking that daring greatly and understanding that you are concentrated awesomeness.
Oh, interesting. Like that. Thank you so much, Mark. Keep in touch, yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll be.
absolutely.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much. Okay, enjoy your
Yeah,
day and
thank
keep in
you.
touch. Okay,
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
take care.
All right.
Bye bye.
All right.
Take care.
Bye bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.